Werewolf here. I'd like to recommend a book to you, The Phantom by Garrett Hopman. It was written in the 1920s, but the dilemmas in this book are surprisingly just as relevant to today as they were back then. It's got elements of doomerism, toxic dating culture, status, fake influencers, Ponzi schemes, and the whole fake it till you make it advice, and the dark consequences of all these. It was also adapted into a film by F.W. Murnau, who's best known for his classic vampire film Nosferatu. The main character, Lorenz, is a diligent, low-level employee who loves books and has limited real-world experience. He lives with his mom, who he takes care of. So one day he sets eyes on the daughter of a rich hardware merchant in town, and he becomes obsessed with her. Now, being a nobody in town and low on the social ladder, he understands that he likely has no chance with her. He resorts to obsessive behavior on his break from work, walking around the town plaza where he saw her in passing every day. He makes this walk. He buys an expensive suit on money that he's borrowed from his Aunt Schwab. Incidentally, and this becomes an interesting parallel to today with Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset. His obsessive behavior just grows. He shows up at the hardware store every day to buy one tool, which he's never going to use. He starts showing up late for work and eventually rage quits, believing that his job stands in the way of running into this girl. Meanwhile, he has sent a poem that he wrote to a publisher for consideration, and while he's waiting for a response, he exaggerates this, telling people that he has a book deal in the works, and that he will be the next great author. He uses this status to get into upscale restaurants and clubs so he can be seen. He meets a fellow named Wityczynski. Possibly Wityczynski, or I'm sure I pronounced it wrong no matter what. Pretending to be Lorenz's friend, Wityczynski, a hustler and a player, very much in contrast to Lorenz's personality, pushes Lorenz further down this dark road of fake it till you make it. He convinces him that they should get together and start a business. Doesn't matter what kind of business, the idea is to make money. And this is really just a money-making scheme on Wityczynski's part. He has no real plan for what he's going to do. Things take a turn for the worse. Lorenz's behavior becomes suspect, and his Aunt Schwab demands repayment of the loan that she gave him within 24 hours. He turns to Wityczynski for help, and of course Wityczynski says he has a plan, and drags our main character even further down the dark road of the criminal path. There are at least a few more things in common with today's culture. There's even a moment when things go wrong and Wityczynski goes on a socialist-sounding rant about how everything is the fault of capitalism and that's what's bringing them down. Of course, he believes whatever's convenient for him to believe at the time. But I won't reveal any more of this story. I'll let you find out. Some qualities that I like that add to the overall experience of reading this book. Hopman seems to balance ideas with great psychological depth in a simple and easy-to-read manner. It's like a much simpler Crime and Punishment, and there's even a reference where they're talking about Dostoevsky. While the story is a social and economic drama, he throws in a lot of references to demons, witches, ghosts, and other things that add to a Gothic undertone to the story, which makes a very interesting blend of these two kinds of stories. It's written like an old journal, as if it were written by Lorenz himself, which adds to the overall mysterious feel to the book. I like the film, and I recommend it, and Murnau made a few improvements in some areas. He adds some of his own expressionistic nightmare visuals, and however, there are some psychological elements to the book that just can never really be translated to film. So, therefore, I definitely recommend the book, but I also recommend the film as well. Again, the fact that the elements that the main character faces mirror what many of us are going through today in their personal and social struggles is another reminder that we are not alone in history, that the struggles of the past have more things in common with the struggles of the present than we may realize on the surface. I found the book for free online as a PDF. I think you'll like it, and until next time, life, liberty, and the survival.